Hey everybody, Patty Ann here. I've got something fun to show you today. If you like using rubber stamps, either for scrapbooking or card making, I'm going to show you a trick today. And hey, you know what? Even if you like using vinyl for things, this trick will probably come in handy there too. Here's the thing. If you have a Silhouette machine, you can probably use any software that you have for your Cameo. However, if you have a Cricut machine, you'll have to buy the business edition to the Silhouette software. And yes, you can use it for so much for your Cricut. I promise you. Check it out. I'm going to show you how you can save money like that, especially if you like using stamps. You know how expensive they are, and if you get the little die cutter that goes around it, the little thinlet or whatever they call them, you could easily spend in one set the amount of money it will cost you to buy the Silhouette Business Edition and be able to do all of this stuff, starting with this. So follow me to my computer and let me show you. Okay, before we actually go to my computer, I just wanted to show you a little bit of what I'm talking about. These were made from digi stamps that are free, okay? So notice when you have a digi stamp, unlike a regular stamp pad, you can make different sizes. You can color them with your crayons, colored pencils, Copic markers, anything like that, and make them different sizes depending on what you want. If you want it to go on a card, like perhaps this way, or if you want it to go this way or want several different sizes. This is the one I'm going to show you how to make today. It's really simple, and this is a free digi stamp. All these little elements and more you'll be able to get. Now, what I suggest you do is to pause the video right now and look underneath of it. It's free. I'll have the link for it for you there. Grab it, the freebie, so you can save it to your computer. And if you already have Silhouette on your machine, use it. If you don't, I challenge you to download the free version. I have the link for that down below too. The free version to Silhouette. You won't be able to use it with your Cricut machine, but you'll see just how easy it is to do this. Try it one time. You don't like it, delete it. But I'm telling you what, you'll love it. I sound like a big salesperson, but honestly, I am not affiliated with Silhouette America. I just know I love this program and think it's fabulous for all of us. Okay, this is the website you'll come to get the free bird digi stamps. There are tons of free digi stamps here, but I like birds and I thought this one was really cute. So you will have to sign up to, I've logged in already. See, it says log out up here. You will have to sign in to be able to get these free images, but it's no big deal. Don't worry about it. It's not scary. And again, I am not affiliated with this site at all. This site happens to be from the UK. Anyway, you download it now, and you'll notice I have it over here. It's a PDF file, which means it's not even zipped. You don't have to do anything with it. So I've already downloaded it. It's in my downloads. I'm going to open up Silhouette now. And I've already opened up this image just so I can see what it looks like, what they've colored theirs like. And maybe I'll try to mimic it a little bit. So I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File and Merge, and that's going to allow me to bring the PDF file right here into this same page so I can continue to see my sample here. So File, Merge, and I know it's a PDF, so it looks like this. Bird Digi Stamps, open. Okay, it comes in just like this, just perfect, right? And I actually, if I right-click and say Ungroup, these actually come apart just like this. And if I wanted to use them, I could use them just like this, but I don't want to. I'll show you why. Wow, what are all, okay. I've opened them a few times. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to trace each of these because I want to show you how you can color it and then print it with your computer. Now, if you don't want to color it, you'll be able to use the same technique to either print and cut it, just print the black lines, or you could even do something like this with vinyl on an object, or HTV even. But anyway, so let's start. I can move this sign out of the way, or the little sentiment, because I don't need to worry about that. So we'll start with this guy right here. So the first thing I need to do to make this a stamp that I can use easily and manipulate and color to come over here to the trace panel. Looks like a piece of toast to me. Just click on the trace. And then you're going to say select trace area. So before I do that, I think I'll scroll in a little bit by using this tool up here that kind of looks like a bug to me. I'm going to scroll in with the bug tool so I can see him really well. And now I'm going to click on Select Trace Area, and I'm going to trace him, just like that. And the yellow part is the part that's going to trace, and quite honestly, this came in as a wonderful trace right here. Sometimes they don't, and you have to adjust the threshold. But see, sometimes you can get it up too high and it starts getting jaggedy or too thick. So I'm going to leave it just about like that. I don't want it so that there's, look at this, I don't want it like this, so there are breaks. See how these lines aren't totally complete some places? Almost look like there are some breaks in the lines. You don't want it to be like that. So you'll move the threshold up until you have solid, nice solid lines. Probably about like that looks good. Once you're satisfied with the way your lines look, then you simply hit the word trace. And let me scroll out a little bit. So what that's done is it's traced this guy right here who I don't need right now, and I'm going to use this fellow right here because here's the difference. Watch me change this one to black for temporarily, and it'll look pretty much just like, oops, let me change its line color to black. Just like this one, right? Here's the difference. When I click on this one, I can't color this any color whatsoever. Well, when I click on this one, I really can't color it other than the little black outline. But what I can do with this one is to come up here to Object and release the compound path. Now when I do that, it's going to put little squares around each one of these little sections on this bird. So I'm going to be able to color all of the sections different colors. I don't really want it to be black though, and I'll show you why. So if I just come up here to Object and release compound path, look, it makes it all black. It's really hard for me to see what is what, right? So I'm just going to undo that. I'm going to change this color up here. Instead of it being black, I'm going to change it to a light color that I won't be using in my bird. There we go. See how that changed it? And now when I say Object, release compound path, it's going to still make those squares all around everything, but I can see. This one, if I go to Object, release compound path, nothing happens. See that? Nothing happens. No matter how hard I try, I can't make him different colors. But this guy, on the other hand, check this out. Let's suppose, just like our sample, let's bring our sample over here. All right, so this guy, move him down a little bit. Whoops, got to group him together. Once you release his compound path, let me group him to move him, or certainly grab everything and move him. And we'll put this up here. Okay, so now I'm going to scroll in a little bit for you. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to start changing his color. So let's suppose that I want to make him yellow, just like the fellow up here is. So I can click on him, click on that part. Notice that up here it shows it's the purpley color. If I want to use basically the same color of yellow, I can click on this swatch, go over to the eyedropper tool, and click on that yellow, and it made it that color. If I want to make his belly pretty much the same color that the other one is, eyedropper, belly. So then his arms would be the same color. So I can click on one, hold down my shift key, get the other one, come up here, and change it. Now the last color I used is right here. And I would make these the same. So if ever you click on it and you get these nodes, these little squares, you're not going to be able to change the color if you look up here. So all you have to do is click on this arrow right here and it'll get you back to the selection tool. Or if you accidentally have the nodes, you could also hit the letter V as in Victor on your keyboard, and that goes back to the selection arrow. Now I can hold down the shift key on my keyboard and keep holding it down, grab all three of these little things and come up here and grab the latest color. So that looks pretty good so far, right? Except for that I need to color his beak, because notice that's orange up here. So I'll come up here and grab an orange color. And his little cheeks, click. Hold down my shift key, click. Get those and change those to a light pink. If I want to get the same color again, I can grab the eyedropper and get the same color. All right. So now the only problem that we have is the black stuff. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click on this. Well, actually, what I'm going to, whoopsie daisy. Actually, I'm going to move this part out because this is going to be my black part, right? So if you're not able to do that easily, let me hit Control Z. What I recommend you do is just really scroll in and then you're able to click on this. Now, if you're not sure if you clicked on it, look up here. It's actually easy to see here because the box is around the pink. But if you couldn't tell, you can look up here and this shows which color you have selected. I don't want that. I want that purple color. So I can just grab the purple and then change it now to black. And look what we have so far. He's looking pretty darn good. There are a few things we need to do though. Like, look at his eyes. Let's look at this one. See his eyes? They're black, right? So to get that black, what we want to do is we want to subtract this purple color out. We don't want to have to cut out little tiny pieces of vinyl to be here or cardstock to be here. And if we're doing print then cut, we don't need to have that either. I can just click on this eyeball to select it, and we know the purple is selected rather than the yellow or the black by looking up here. Hold down my shift key, select the yellow, and then come way over here to these panels, to the one that says Modify Panel. And if you hover over it, it'll say Modify Panel. Click on that to open it. And now what we want to do is we want to subtract that purple color right out of there. So click on Subtract. Okay, we have another little purple eyeball we don't want. Click on the purple. Check up here. Yep, I got the purple selected. Hold down my shift key. Get the yellow. Yeah, I've got the yellow. And now I'm going to say Subtract. The Modify panel has stayed open. Subtract. Let's pretend like it closes. All right. Now around his little beak, notice it's black. So I'm going to click on the purple part. Notice I've got the purple. Hold down my shift key. Get the yellow. Notice that's been selected. Come over here to the Modify panel. That is the rectangle with the little circle. Click on it. Subtract. Same thing with these little cheeks. Whoops. Click off, then click on. Oh. Click off and click on. Okay, I got the purple. I can see that up here. Hold down my shift. Get the yellow. Subtract. Click off. Click on the purple. I got it. Look here. Hold down my shift key. Get the yellow. Yep, I got it. And subtract. All right, let's see what else do we have here. We have this piece. And whoops, I don't want to pull that piece out by itself. So what we're going to do next is this. Okay, there are many ways to do the next step, and I'm just going to show you one of the ways. So let me hit Control Z to put that back. Okay, so the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the purpley color, and I know I have it, and the yellow, click on that, and say Subtract. So that's going to leave black behind here, okay, which is what we want. But we also, and I'm going to show you what I mean when I subtract in just a minute. But what we also want is we want each one of these little seeds, little feather tips to be subtracted out also so we see the black. There's many ways to do that. You could click on one of these individually and hold down your shift key and just get a bunch of them like this, and then while you're still holding down your shift key, get the pink and say Subtract so you can see how that's done that. Or what you can do is this. You can move these other parts out of the way so that you're basically left with this part right here, and just grab all of it. Now notice, see how it's putting, I don't want this. See how it's putting a box around each one of those little pieces? Let me scroll in so you can see. Okay, these were the ones I already subtracted out. But notice now it's putting a box around each of these pieces. So then, since those are all selected and the pink is selected, since I grabbed it all, I can say subtract. So what subtract does is it subtracts that color right out of there and leaves a hole. So rather than you having to get a bunch of little tiny pieces of black vinyl or cardstock, that's just cut it out, and what you're going to see is what you have back behind here. And I'm going to put this back in here like this so you'll see. And now I can put it all back together just like this. And that is pretty much all that we have to do for him. Let's scroll out and see. But you'll notice something about this guy here. There's a white offset around him. And this is one of the cool things that we can do here in Silhouette for our Cricut machines or for your Silhouette machine. So what I would do is I would just go ahead and grab all of it by drawing a box around it all, right click and say group. The next thing I would do is I would come over here. So far we've used the trace panel, we've used the modify panel, and now we're going to use one more, and it's the offset panel. It's a star that looks like it has an offset on it. I'm going to click on that, and this will pop open. I'm going to offset it. I don't want an inside or an internal offset. I want one that goes on the outside, just called an offset. And I really don't want it to be that big, so I usually like to change mine down to maybe a 0.05. And once I have that there, I'll just hit enter, and notice that makes a much smaller offset for me. And then I can come up here, up in the upper left hand corner, and change the offset color to white. And there it is, perfect, just like that. So now what I can do is I can just go ahead and right click and group this. And I'll do that. What I might have done if I was really doing this for myself, I might have made it so this was not here. So the way let me show you how to do that. There's several ways. I'll show you the easiest way. Another way would be using the nodes, which is a little bit more advanced, and we do that in my more advanced classes. But an easy way to do it is I've selected him again, come up to the offset. So instead of doing it 0.05, let's try something like 0.08. And let's see what that does. All right, that's exactly what we wanted to have happen. So what I'm going to do is come back up here. Notice it's got the little transparency checkerboard because right now the offset is transparent. I want it to be white, so I'll click on white. Need to have it selected first, and I'll click on white. Okay, I keep missing white, I guess. There we go. And there it is. And now you'll notice there is no cut between the legs there. So when my machine cuts it, assuming I'm going to use this as an individual piece on something, it would be perfect just like this. All right, so but what I would do finally then is to just group this together like that. And now let's just assume that I'm just going to make this guy right here to begin with. So let me move this other stuff out of the way. If I was using this in Cricut Design Space, just this little guy by himself, and I was going to do a print then cut, and I'll show you how to do it over in Cricut as well. So to do a print then cut in Silhouette, all I do is I have to come up here to the page setup panel, and I'm going to change it because the size of the paper that I have that I'm using over there, my cardstock is 8.5 by 11, so I'm going to change it to letter. The other thing I must do is turn on the registration lines, and those are the lines that my machine, my Cameo machine, reads so that it knows exactly where to cut this. So once I put the registration marks on here and I print this with the registration marks, I cannot move it until I cut it. So I'll put the registration marks on. Right now they're off. I'll toggle it to on. There they are. And again, I can make this guy as big as I want to, even though it's a digi stamp. That's the cool thing. I could make him, 8.5 inches tall or more, depending on what will fit on my Cameo. I'm making him over 9 inches tall. So what I would do next is just go to Send. And notice all these red cut lines. All of those red parts are what are going to cut. That's not what we want. I'm going to highlight this and come over here. Right now it says cut. I'm going to say cut edge because that's all I want it to cut. Now, of course, since this is a print then cut, before I go ahead and cut it, I'm going to print it on my printer. So I would come up here to File, Print, Preferences, and the printer that I have, I really love. It's a new one for me. I have it linked down below if you want to see what I use. It really does a nice job. But anyway, I would put mine on high, color, and then I would say OK. And I usually like to see a print preview. So if I say OK and print, it's going to show me a preview of what this thing's going to look like when it prints. And there it is. So you really can't tell that there's that white offset around it, but we know it's there. I'm going to cancel this. No, I don't want to print it. We know that white offset is there. So let's go back to design. Now, if you were going to use this for Cricut Design Space, and it's going to be a print then cut, what I would recommend you do is you grab it to select it, then you come over here to File, Save Selection, Save to Hard Drive. Now, if you're using the free version that I suggested you download to try this, these options will not be available for you. That's why you have to spend the $48 or whatever it is, and you'll own the program forever and ever and be able to do so much. But anyway, you will need to save it as either a JPEG, if it's a print then cut, or save it as an SVG, if you're making it as an SVG cut file. So I'm going to make this a print then cut, so I'm going to save it as a JPEG, and I'll just save it as chick, and I'll save it in my download on my desktop, I guess, on my desktop, chick, JPEG. Okay. Leave all these numbers as they are and say save. So again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Cricut Design Space. Okay, going to do, a new project. Make it larger. I'm going to go to Upload, Upload an image. By the way, let's look over here for a sec. Well, let's see, Upload. These are other ones that I've already recently done. Look how cute these are, right? These are all images that I've made over there in Silhouette, and I'm able to use them with my Cricut machine. And I just have a Cricut Explorer Air too. I'm going to upload the image, browse. I'm going to look for that image. I put it on my desktop and I named it Chick. Here it is. Open it. It's going to come in looking like this. Say complex, continue. And then I'm going to click here and here, here and here. So what it's doing is it's leaving that nice little offset that we have. Continue. So I want to do the print then cut. So I'll say save. Then I can just upload this image. Oops, I don't want to upload it. I mean browse. Oopsie, I don't want to do this. I'm going to go back to my canvas. I'm going to go upload, and I'm going to insert this image now that I have it. Insert. The only thing is it might come in a size that we don't really like. And let's see, this is probably too big. So if I go to make it, it says it's incompatible because it's too large for a print then cut. So I'll need to make it smaller because you know for a print then cut, the only size that we can use is 9.25 and okay, 9.25 by 6.75. So that should work. So let's go to make it. And there it is. That's what's going to happen. It's going to cut right along this line right here. And we'll have a beautiful print then cut that you've made with a beautiful offset. So let's go back to Silhouette again. So what I did was I did these other fellows as well. This guy right here. Again, just to refresh your memory, all you need to do is this. Look at this guy right here. Nothing you can do with him. Come over here and trace. Trace the area. Trace that area. Get a nice solid line trace, which that looks great. Click on trace. Move the original one out of the way. I click on this one and I change it to a light color. And then I come up here, object, release the compound path. And then what I can do is I can color each one of these pieces. Notice I got those crazy nodes, the little boxes here. To get rid of that, just hit V as in Victor on your keyboard. Let's say I want to color him a real pretty color. I'll come over here to this swatch. And I'm going to color him that color. And let's say I'm going to color his wing. Hold down my shift key and these feathers on his head and his tail. That color. I don't like any of these colors. Okay, there we go. I'll color his belly the same. Got those nodes again, don't want them. I can hit the V on my keyboard to get this arrow, the selection arrow again, or I can just come up here and click on it. And I'll make that be the same color as this. So I'm going to come here. Here's the last color I used. There we go. So now what I can do is I can change this backing part. Whoops. Again, to get the backing part, we want to scroll way in, click on this, so that gets that pink. Now I can change it to black so we can see how things are going. I want his eyebrows to be black and I want his eyes to be black. Click on one eye, hold down the shift key, the second eye, eyebrow, eyebrow. Shift key is still held down. Click on the pink and then come over here to the modify panel and click on subtract. Perfect. I want the outside of his cheek and hold down the shift key, the outside of his beak. Click on the pink. I want that to be black, so subtract. Okay. I want the outside of his wing to be black, so I clicked on that, hold down the shift, get the bird, and subtract. Okay, let's see. I guess I'll make his beak orange, just like we had done before. His cheek is fine, that color. So once again, what I'm going to do is move this and these parts out of the way. Move this out of the way, and I'm going to just grab on this, say subtract. It's going to make holes. You see that, how there are holes now all over that? So that's exactly what we want. And now I can put him back together. Ooh, I should have probably grouped it. This is pretty easy though. And I'm going to show you real quick how you would do this for vinyl if you're doing this in Cricut. Okay, cheek, nose, and the blue part. Okay, if I was doing this for vinyl rather than print then cut, to do print then cut, refer back to the yellow guy. If I was doing this in vinyl, the first thing I would do for either Cameo or Cricut, come up here to this little paint bucket, and that says select by color, which is what we want to do. Then you'll come over here. We don't want to select by line. We want to select by fill color. So I'm going to click on by fill. And look at all these colors. A lot of these aren't ones that we've used in this bird. I just want to get the colors we've used in this bird. So I'm going to start with the orange. There's only one piece, so I don't need to worry about that. There's only one piece of the pink, so I don't need to worry about that. Same with this darker pink. But I do need to worry about this blue color. So watch what happens when I click on it. All of the blue pieces get a box around them. Then all I have to do is right click on them and say make compound path. When I make a compound path, that's going to make it as if all those blue pieces are just one thing, right, like that. So when I go to move them, look at, it's like one thing. And basically, I guess that's the only thing I need to make a compound path this time. So Let's scroll out a little bit, make sure none of this is over here. I can get rid of the registration lines if I want to, but it's probably not necessary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab all of him, right click and say group. And then while that is still selected, I'm going to come up here to File, Save As, Save to Hard Drive. And again, this is something you will not be able to do with the free version. For Cameos, it doesn't matter. You can just save it as a silhouette file and use it. For a Cricut machine, you have to be able to save this right now as an SVG. And I will name it Chick Pink. Okay, and I'll save it on my desktop as well and save it as an SVG. You will not see SVG if you do not have the business edition, period. So you'll need to purchase that. It's a one-time fee. It's well worth it. Say okay. Let me show you this. I just made an SVG for myself right here. All I did was get this free digi stamp image, and I've got the cutest little SVG. So let's go over to Cricut Design Space and see if it'll work. So I'm going to cancel this, and we'll just put in, I'll get rid of this one, delete him. So I'm going to upload an image, browse, I'm going to go back to my desktop and find the pink, I didn't save it as an yes I did, it says SVG, SVG, see that? Say open. It says there's pattern fills that are not supported. Is that okay? And I'll just say, oh, you know why, y'all? I forgot to say save selection as. See all this extra junk over here that was selected? Let's cancel this. That's what's going to happen sometimes. Go back. All I want to do is I'm going to go like this. Grab him. Go File. Save Selection. I just want that selected pink chick. I don't want all that other junk. Save it to my hard drive. I'm going to save it as the pink. No, chick pink, is it? Pink? Yeah. And again, I need to save it as an SVG. Chick pink SVG. SVG because it's not going to be a print then cut. It's going to be a cut file. I want to replace it, yes. So now we're going to go back to Cricut Design Space, upload an image, browse, chick pink, here it is, open it. Look, just one comes in this time, and we'll say save. Now when I go and insert it, check this out. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layers. The black layer, let's ungroup them for a moment. We can make it bigger. You remember, you'll have to resize it. And if I ungroup these, you can see the layers. There's the pink, the blue layer with all the little holes. If this was vinyl, it would be perfect. The pink layer, all the little holes so you don't have to cut the black. Little pieces of black, little tiny beak, the cheek, and then there's the base onto which you could layer these things. So that's it. That's how easy it is to use this to make your own SVGs and print then cuts, or that are colored, or print then cuts that are just black and white that you can color with your Copic markers or your colored pencils. So again, let's look down here at my desktop and I'll show you the one I did originally just so you can see one that's been made. Okay, so again, this is the one that's just a simple print then cut, and I did it actually on the card so it was ready to go. And I also printed out these sentiments, and I have videos that show how to do this. But I thank you for coming and joining me today. I hope that you consider getting this software for your Cricut machine. Also for your Silhouette machine. If you'd like to get the business edition, it really has some other fabulous things that you can do with it for your Silhouette. So again, I have the link to the free version down below. If you do want to get the business edition, I do have a link to that. But again, I am really not affiliated with Silhouette America. I just really love this software. If you join my Facebook groups, ask there. Everybody will say, yes, we absolutely love this software for our Cricut machines and our Cameos. So again, thanks for joining me, you guys. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. And comment. I love getting comments. See you soon. Bye.